Welcome to the Health Angle Podcast with Dr. Mike Headlee and Dr. Gordon Fimreite, where we'll be exploring different angles of health to achieve the best version of yourself. Now, here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Gordon.
Welcome, everybody. I am Dr. Mike Headlee, and with me is Dr. Gordon Fimreite. Welcome, Gordy.
Hey, and welcome to the Health Angle Podcast. We have a special edition today. We have a guest with us, and you'll notice that third person, that's Maria Macnab. And Maria, I'll read your bio in a second, but just wanted to welcome you to our podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So Maria Macnab is on a mission to empower women to transition from who am I to aligning with their true self. With over 22 years of experience working with children, families, and women in diverse settings, she brings a wealth of knowledge to her practice. Maria is a certified J. Shelty life and success coach and a master Reiki practitioner. She seamlessly blends coaching and energy healing in her one-on-one private sessions to help women reconnect with their bodies and minds. Maria assists women in gaining clarity in their big visions and releasing hidden blocks and fears that stand in their way. By fostering profound shifts in their relationships with themselves, she guides women towards a deeper sense of inner fulfillment. Wow, that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. So I'm going to start this off, Maria, with a question. So tell us, the viewers, and even our me, Mike, and I myself, what is life coaching or alignment coaching? Is that the same thing? How did you get interested in this line of work? And how do you incorporate Reiki into this type of practice?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to speak about my work. Life coaching is not a common thing. I'm coming to find out. People don't know much about life coaching, so this is a great opportunity to learn more. A life coach is someone who supports you along your path. And that looks different for everybody. Every coach has their own way of coaching. So mine is through alignment coaching. I really, truly believe that in order for us to live the life that we want or live the life that we desire, that we have to take a bird's eye view of what's stopping us and blocking us from pursuing or having the life that we want. And so that's what life coaching is. It's that a reflective, powerful conversation between the coach and the client, where you're co-creating an experience that allows you to create your thinking, your behaviors, and actions in alignment. So oftentimes we're not in alignment with what we want, and we don't even know what we want or desire. So we always are, oftentimes we ask that question, who am I? Like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And so life coaching helps us create that intention, that purpose. And it's really dropping in and learning about yourself at a very deep level. It's very confronting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not like therapy, whereas therapy goes into the past and you work on inner child healing and the trauma and wounds. Life coaching is about your current reality. Like, what are you experiencing today? What are you coming to the session with currently? And where do you want to go? And how do you want to get there? And so you're setting goals. We're taking aligned action. You're holding yourself accountable, but you're doing it within this partnership with your coach. It's not a hierarchy. Like, we are partners in developing your path forward, creating that vision, and removing the things that are blocking you and stopping you in the first place.
That's great. Thanks, Maria, for sharing. I'll let Mike have the next question, but I think that's brilliant. Like, life coaching is taking where you are now and breaching you into the future and optimizing your potential on different arenas. That's brilliant. And I was just thinking about this too. It's like, Dr. Mike, how many life coaches have you actually talked to? I think I may have met maybe 2 in my 27 years of practice. You're out there, life coaches are out there, but I don't think a lot of people know what life coaching is.
Yeah, I've met about half a dozen, and people that have worked with them really, really like working with them, so it's just getting the word out and, helping achieve your goals. And one thing so the people are really, 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 really happy with the results. One thing I really, really liked about this coaching is alignment coaching, because as chiropractors, we want to keep people in alignment and work on posture and things like that. So I really, really appreciated that. And thank you for sharing that. I was looking on your LinkedIn profile, and you had a lot of really great content and articles and things like that. So I would like to ask you a question about your healing and health journey. If you wanted to, it's out there, so you don't have to get too personal, but if you wanted to share a little bit about that and how that influenced you to maybe go from some pain to your purpose now, and how that influences you helping so many other people that may have went down the same road that you did. If you wanted to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it ties back into the first question of like, how did I even get involved in life coaching in the first place? Pretty much my entire adult life, I've been very drawn to service, to serving others, to giving back. And it's taken on many different forms, from social work to getting my master's in early childhood education. And then in education, really finding this desire for the spiritual side, the holistic side of healing the body. I actually started, I went into yoga. Like, I was very much into yoga. I started a yoga practice, meditation. I've been meditating for like 20 years. I'm practicing yoga for just as long, and breath work. And I've been very drawn to like, how do I heal my body? And how do I help people relieve suffering? Whether that's physical suffering, emotional suffering, mental suffering. And my focus started out actually with children, because I was interested in child development and early childhood. I suffered as a child with severe anxiety, depression. I was engaging in habits and behaviors that I was not in alignment with, that were not serving me in my highest. And like, that combination really led me to like wanting to support children at a young age, plant those seeds of mindfulness, of way they view themselves, develop a positive self-concept, help them develop emotional intelligence. That was like my driving force. And that took place all the way until recently, where as a teacher, I started yoga programs in my schools and taught that to children and families within the school setting, but also in private settings, while at the same time learning how to heal my body, learning what practices work for my body, and then teaching that to others. So like meditation, breath work, yoga postures, connecting with nature, essential oils, Reiki, eventually Reiki, and other Ayurveda. So all holistic practices to heal my body, because I myself needed to relieve the suffering that I was also finding myself in, that was blocking me from my truest desires. Yeah, I think I answered all of that.
Yeah, thank you. And then just a quick follow-up. Do you recommend some of your clients to help them get to where they want to serve others too, to reinforce the teachings and the action steps that you teach them with these holistic things? Is that ever part of the equation?
So it depends on the person. What I do teach women is what I've practiced on myself first, because I know that they work. And so when women come to me, oftentimes women come to me in a state of stress. Most people are in that fight flight mode all the time. Stress, go, 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 distraction. And so when I work with people, as I worked with myself in my healing journey, is that you have to come out of that stress response in order to get anything done. And so I teach in coaching practices like breath work, for instance, bees breath, Brahmari, which stimulates the vagus nerve and brings you into a state of relaxation. Before we even get into the mindset stuff, I need your nervous system regulated. And that's really the strong foundation of my work, is that first. That's why I incorporate Reiki healing into my coaching practice, because I don't see them as being separate. So Reiki, if you don't know what Reiki is a healing modality that brings the body into a natural state of balance, so that it allows the body to naturally heal itself. So if it's not in a state of fight or flight, and Reiki will bring you into a state of peace and relaxation, then your body's natural job is to heal itself. And so Reiki creates that situation basically to allow the clients to start heal their body. Because once we clear that out, then we can start getting into the mindset stuff and getting down to the root cause of, which is usually the belief that they're carrying about themselves that is preventing them from their desires or living in alignment with their truest self. So yeah.
Cool. That answers a lot. Thank you.
That's great. I'm sure some of our viewers are watching and they're thinking, well, I wonder if I would be a candidate for the type of work you do. So I guess with that said, I'd like to know, what is your typical case? What is the typical case, or maybe even a success case that you've had? And how does somebody know if they're out of alignment? And then the third part of this question is, what is your approach? You get somebody that comes in, and what do? What's the first thing you do? Do you talk to them? Do you have a paperwork that kind of breaks things down? What's your approach?
Okay, so I'll start with the first question.
Okay.
You might have to remind me what the other ones were.
Okay.
So typically when people come to me, so if you're watching this and you're like, do I need a life coach? These are the typical scenarios, and they can vary based on the person. Typically people are coming to me stressed, anxious, their relationships are suffering, there's a loss of power, and they're playing small. So that means they are playing small as you're not living up to your potential. Those are like the main reasons, or how somebody might know that they are out of alignment is when their thoughts and their behaviors don't match their actions. So say somebody is wanting to lose weight, or they want to go to the gym to work out, but their mind is saying, oh, we're going to do that tomorrow. Oh, we'll start tomorrow. Or they'll go to the gym and they'll do really good for about 3 weeks, and then they'll drop off. But there's an underlying reason and belief that they're holding about themselves that is where they're unable to follow through on what they want to accomplish. So it could be they don't feel worthy of it. They don't have the strategies for keeping their energy up. So their diet may be off. There's like multiple factors that are contributing to them not staying consistent on their weight loss goals, right? And the biggest thing, though, that I see is negative self-talk. So we speak horribly to ourselves, especially women. There's so much self-hatred that causes misalignment. So our thoughts are so powerful that they create our reality. And so if you're waking up every morning not realizing what thoughts are going on in your mind, running like in your unconscious mind, that reality is showing up in the external environment. And so part of my work is to bring things out of the unconscious into the conscious level to confront and look at it. Because if you can't confront it and look at it, you don't know what program you're being ran by. You're being ran by typically your childhood experiences, those voices, that inner critic that we all suffer from, not just women, but men too. And that voice is dictating the show. It's driving your car. And so if you're wanting to improve something in your life or shift something in your life, you have to understand the narrative that you are speaking to yourself first. And I would say that's the biggest thing that gets revealed during the work is the narrative and the programming and the conditioning and the stories that we have on repeat that we're very much attached to and living from. So we're living from our past experiences, bringing the past into the present, and then that dictates our future.
I think people need to re-listen to that about 10 times or 100, whatever. That was super, super huge. Our mothers, fathers, teachers, preachers, program, whether intentional or not, it's in there. It's programmed. And we just go on automatic pilot. Geez, I lost 10 pounds, but I gained it back. I lost 10 pounds. Why can't I figure this out? I got to exercise harder. I got to do this. I'll just give up. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I guess I'll never be my ideal weight because I probably don't deserve it. Oh, and then and then maybe sometimes you get flashbacks of when you ask a parent to buy me a toy in the store. No, not now. No, and it's, I guess I am not worthy. You can kind of reconnect some of that consciously or the subconscious stuff. That's really significant. And we could talk for hours on that, and you can coach people for multiple sessions on that. So
yes.
With that said, I'm kind of curious, getting back to you, since you're such a success story, can you share maybe just one thought or one thing? How did you get reprogrammed? So you said Reiki and you said meditation, you said yoga and all that got you on the step, but how did you learn about that? Through your coaching, or tell us a little bit about that background?
Yeah, that has been a very long journey for me to understand my mind. And it started in my 20s. The most important thing that's happened to me is when I decided to choose a different path. When I got so sick of my own stuff, I made a decision that I was going to do everything in my power to shift my mindset. And I did that through podcasts, reading, healers, coaches, a therapist. I went all in on myself, and I continue to go all in on myself, and I go deep. I go to places that are dark and uncomfortable, and I'm willing to sit in my discomfort as long as it takes for me to reprogram and reset my mindset, which is so why therapy and coaching and healing is so powerful, is because you don't have to take as long as I did. It took me a long time to realize that I actually needed support. I didn't know what coaching was. I didn't know there was such thing as a life coach until the last couple of years, when I was so burnt out and stressed and didn't want to be a teacher anymore, didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was being called to do something holistic with people and serve. And I wouldn't be where I am right now if I had not done all of that work that led me here. And another thing I want to mention is you have to have a lot of trust in yourself and the universe, and know that when you decide to live intentionally and with purpose, and you learn what your heart's deepest desire is, there's nothing that will get in your way of preventing you from doing the work.
Thank you for sharing that. I don't want to keep getting personal with you, but that really helps out a lot. And just because you're such a success story, I thought it would be good to share some of that. And I love that you really, really get to the root cause of people's issues, and you're just facing the truth. You faced your truths, even if it's not pretty, even if it's not fun. You said dark, and it's not fun all the time, but the other side of it is health and happiness, success, all that stuff. So that's, to really have trust in yourself and get to the root cause. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It
reminds me of a book, Feelings Alive, Never Die. And your transition is to get that alive part of that element and try to work through it. So branching into the next arena, is you get somebody brand new. They come in.
Mm-hmm.
What's your assessment? How do you find out? Are they always willing to share? Do you have them fill out some work, or do you have a strategy that you go through to get somebody on board with your life coaching?
Yeah. Well, we have an alignment call. And on this call, I'm asking specific questions. Like, I want to know what this person's like biggest challenge is. What is your obstacle? What do you truly desire? What does your dream life look like? What do you think is stopping you from that? And what do you see the goal of even having a coach in the first place? And are people open to a holistic way of coaching? Because I'm not a business coach, right? I'm not focused on one thing. I'm focused on all areas of your life. And how are you showing up? How do you want to show up in those areas to make sure that the person that is on the call with me, that I'm going to first be able to serve them at the highest. And if I don't feel like I can, then I would refer them on. But I'm here to serve, and I know the methodology that I use works. And so as long as I feel like that client is in alignment with that, then they just say yes or no. Yeah, but there is an hour conversation where we dive in deep and see if we are in alignment. And I would say 99% of the people that I have on alignment calls are in alignment to work with me. Because if you're spending 60 minutes a week for 3 to 6 months, you want to be in alignment with that person. Because when you're not in alignment, let me tell you, I've had a client where I was not in alignment with. It was my early part of my coaching. It was a struggle. It was a struggle to connect.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that again. And Maria, do you have a special case that you could share with us that you took someone from day one to maybe even had such a transformation like yourself that you would want to share one of your really, really great success stories?
Yeah, working with this woman for almost 6 months, and stress, anxiety is what she came in with, negative self-talk, scared, just lots of trauma, lots of fears, had these big, beautiful dreams and just could not get to them. So over time, first when somebody comes in to see me, like I said, we regulate the nervous system. So we're doing Reiki before we even start coaching, clear that out. And so she went through back-to-back Reiki so that she's even open to the possibility of shifting. And then once we got that cleared out, then we dove into the mindset work and discovered what beliefs she was holding about herself that was actually preventing her from this beautiful life that she wanted to create. It took us like 2 months to really get through the heavy lifting. And what the small changes that started to happen was she was showing up differently to her husband. She was talking differently to her children. She was waking up in the morning not in a state of terror. She had never woken up in her entire life since childhood without like in a state of panic every morning, and then being able to go to sleep at night, like a restful sleep without anxiety or having to watch TV and having to do certain things to distract her from what she was really feeling. During our time together, she faced a family crisis, and she showed up to that crisis better than she's ever shown up to anything in her life. And she showed up in her power. She made decisions from a place of calm, from a place of power, from a place of having boundaries with family members and not people pleasing. And she used her tools that we had been working on and building her toolkit with: breath work, meditation, visualization, scripting, so that and she showed up. She showed up to herself, into her family. And now she's on her way of continuing to take aligned action towards this big goal that she has, that she's working on.
That's great. Thank you for that. That must be fun to see the transformation. Yeah.
It's so fun. It's like, it's the best thing ever.
That's what it's all about. Wonderful story. I'm going to ask one more question. I know we're running close to time. Is there any generalized tips that you can give our viewers to make their life more fulfilling? And maybe there's a book out there that you could recommend as well.
Live intentionally. Step back from all of this external distraction and take time to be with yourself. Love yourself. Learn to love yourself. Identify what your thoughts are going on in your mind so that you can learn to shift them. Develop a meditation and breathwork practice so that so if you are choosing to live an intentional life, that will make it so much easier. Ask for guidance. Work with a coach. Work with a healer. Get a therapist. Read those books. Listen to those podcasts. But honestly, the number one most important thing is to let go of control. Trust that you are a fully capable, whole and complete person just as you are, that there's nothing to fix. There's only something to expand on, to grow from, to evolve, so that you can live in alignment with your heart's truest desire. Because our heart space is where our truth lies and where our purpose is, and that's our alignment. So whatever your heart, whatever you feel excited about that's in your heart space, go after it. And once you make that decision intentionally, then the universe is going to align things for you. People, places, experiences are going to come into your life because you've created that space from your heart. And the universe is going to take care of how you're going to get it. You just have to know what and why you want it, what it is that you want, and why do you want this?
That is powerful. I am speechless. And that's something that our viewers should listen to, Mike, 10 times, if not 100. Wonderfully spoken, wonderfully said. Dr. Mike, any questions from your end?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like you to share with how our listeners can get in touch with you, because I just have a couple things from your LinkedIn, feeling like you've lost your identity. How do you start a healing journey? There is so much robust information that you share. And then how can they get in touch with you on Instagram and other channels?
Yeah, so I actually post more content on Instagram. And my Instagram is at maria.lynn.macnab. You can follow me there. I also have a Stand Store account, which is where all my services are. So my alignment calls, my Reiki healing, my women's circles, my women's mini retreats, and retreats are all on my Stand Store. My education, my certification, all my background information is all on my Stand Store, which can be found through my Instagram or through my LinkedIn account.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And any future endeavors? Do you have a book in the works, or any workshops or seminars or anything going on?
I actually have monthly Reiki and sound bath healing circles at Tejas Yoga Studio in the South Loop. I have an event in September, a frequency event, like a healing event. And then I lead women's circles actually at my house. And I just haven't set the next date yet for that. It's a mini retreat. It's a 4-hour workshop at my house in person.
Great. That's really awesome.
That's wonderful. I'll make sure that I put your contact information on this video. So if our viewers are watching YouTube, they'll see it as well. And I can also put it in the comments section as well. Dr. Mike?
Yeah, I always ask our listeners, what's your number one takeaway that you learned today from Maria that you can share at lunch tomorrow with your best friend or a family member? What's your number one takeaway? And then what's your number one action step that you can take today? Are you going to look her up on LinkedIn or Instagram? Are you going to look up Maria and potentially sign up for an alignment call and get some help so you can achieve your goals and really get to the root cause of maybe what's holding you back and get the uncomfortable spaces of these beliefs and where they came from and really get to the cause? That could be an action step. So with that, gosh, you can close it up, Gordy, but that was really fun and exciting. And I'm really glad there's life coaches that look at a holistic approach and really get to the root cause, I know some of the strategies you use and you shared with them. That's really exciting. There's people out there doing what you do.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like, so much gratitude for giving me this time and space to share my passion.
Well, we enjoyed it too, and I hope our viewers enjoyed it as well and got information out of it. So at this point, thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to tell the viewers, please subscribe, please like our content, and we'll see you next week on the Health Angle Podcast.
Thank you for joining us on the Health Angle Podcast. Please subscribe to our channel and catch us for our next episode.